I would now like to call Travis Hardy, a 2000 initiate of the Epsilon chapter at Virginia Tech, to introduce this year's Robertson Most Outstanding Undergraduate Award recipient.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Just making sure that those cookies are kicking in. I'm honored to present our highest recognition of an undergraduate brother, which is an award named to honor Jinx Robertson, a 1970 initiate. Before I introduce our recipient, let me say a few words about the award's namesake. The late Jinx Robertson served as an advisor to my chapter at Virginia Tech, and while I didn't have the privilege of knowing him personally, I was always intrigued to learn of his favorite quote, which is the creed by which he lived his life. It's not what he has, nor even what he does, that directly expresses the worth of a man, but who he is. Jinx Robertson dedicated himself to Pike. He spent his professional career at Virginia Tech and served as the Epsilon chapter advisor for 17 years. He became more than an advisor. To most brothers, he was a valued, personal mentor. However, sadly, in the mid-1980s, Jinx died at the young age of just 53 when he was struck and killed by a drunk driver one evening while approaching our chapter house. In tribute and honor to all that Jinx was, the Robertson Most Outstanding Undergraduate Award was later endowed by alums from the Epsilon chapter. Every year, an exceptional group of young men are nominated, making it extremely difficult to single a single recipient among them. So please join me in first congratulating the two men who placed as runners-up in this year's selection. They are Albert Brandon Burrow, South Carolina, Xi chapter, Rodolfo Enrique Villejas, Florida, Alpha Eta chapter. Join me in a room. Now, our 2017 Robertson Most Outstanding Undergraduate Award recipient is Nicholas Partie, a 2012 initiate of Alpha Xi chapter of the University of Cincinnati. Nick graduated magna cum laude in April with a business administration degree in accounting and international business and a minor in business analytics. Nick served Alpha Xi both as chapter president and recruitment chair. This year, his brothers voted him Pike of the Year. He received the Cedric Vogel Award from the local college education and charitable foundation. He was named IFC President of the Year in 2016 and also served in the homecoming court. In other activities at UC, Nick was selected among 25 freshmen to participate in the highly prestigious and competitive Lidner Honors Plus program. He was inducted into honor societies including Sigma Sigma, Men of Metro, Phi Rho Chi, and the Order of Omega. He served as a campus ambassador for 5 years, as an SGA senator and vice president, and on the university's bicentennial commission. His service activities are equally impressive and comprehensive. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Isabella County Soup Kitchen, Matthew 25 Ministries, Cincinnati Dance Marathon for St. Jude, Cycle for Life, Relay for Life, Give Back Cincinnati, Accounting for Kids, Adopt a Family, and several other charitable and foundation events focused on the fight against cancer, as well as supporting the Red Cross. Internationally, Nick led a project team of 7 to Nicaragua to provide drinking water to a small village. Here stateside, he also traveled to New Orleans to rebuild houses in the 9th Ward and volunteered for a horse animal shelter. Nick has begun his professional career with IBM and currently resides in New York City. I've had a chance to get to know this man here. He's a scholar, a leader, an athlete, a gentleman, passionate about service, loyal to his faith, and a true Pike. Remember Jinx Robertson's quote from earlier. It's not what he has, nor even what he does, that directly expresses the worth of a man, but who he is. And no truer words better describe our 2017 Robertson Most Outstanding Undergraduate Award recipient. So join me in congratulating Nick Partie as I present him this award and a check for $2,500 from our Pike Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude to the members of the Scholarship Selection Committee, the Pike Foundation Board of Trustees, devoted alumni, Memphis headquarters staff, especially Jimmy Stalker, the Brothers of the Alpha Xi chapter in Cincinnati, most importantly, my incredibly supportive family. It is an honor to receive the Robertson Most Outstanding Undergraduate Award. I'm excited to have this opportunity to share my Pike experience with all of you. If you're expecting an impressive story about someone who beat all odds or plans to advance at some point in some top-tier academic institution, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get that from me today. I am really just a very normal, average fraternity guy with perhaps one quality that makes me stand out, and that quality is a deep passion for improving the lives of others, particularly the younger guys and brothers of this great fraternity. Having grown up with a large family nestled in the heart of Michigan, my decision to go to school in Cincinnati, Ohio, was not a natural one. Fortunately, the opportunity to step out of my comfort zone was presented by a fellow Pike brother, Kyle Quinn, who I went to high school with, and moved to Cincinnati after his father relocated under Brian Kelly's coaching staff. For those of you who follow college sports, you may recall this step in Coach Kelly's career. Kyle Quinn is actually here with us today and should know he's made a huge impact, and he's the first one who introduced me to Pike. Thank you, Kyle. It was actually during the summer of my junior year of high school, I went down to Cincinnati and visited Kyle. He took me over to the Pike House. The summer pool was intact, recruitment was underway, and there were some other details I'll spare you for the sake of not having this award rescinded. But needless to say, I had a fantastic time with the guys. Upon admission to UC, I was still skeptical about joining a fraternity. Between the financial obligation and social commitment, my decision was not an easy one. However, the leadership development offered through Alpha Xi stood out among the other chapters on campus, and the demographic of the guys did not represent the frat mentality often seen in movies or social media. Although somehow a guy named Donnie Brummer, I know the Cincinnati guys know him, seemed to slip through the cracks. He's the one who runs our campus barstool account, just to give you an idea, but that's beside the point. Long story short, I placed trust in the process and decided to accept my bid. When I arrived to Cincinnati, I maintained close ties to my home in Michigan. I had just broken up with my high school girlfriend. A very close family member had recently experienced a bad car accident, leading to a period of mental illness and severe paranoia. My grandfather was battling an uphill fight with cancer. Through the pledging process, I found the deep and lasting friendships that allowed me to share these emotions I had been accustomed to bottling up. Many of the wounds were reopened when my grandfather ultimately lost his battle. Without family in Cincinnati to mourn with, I again turned to my pledge class and vividly remember being overwhelmed with joy when at the funeral, I looked across the room filled with family and friends and saw a pledge brother. After just 2 months of knowing this guy, he traveled 6.5 hours to support me. It just so happens, again, probably not so coincidentally, that Jack Johnson is here with us today as well. He's a man, a heck of a good friend. Pike was already giving me so much, and I could not leave it unreciprocated. I quickly discovered that there was no turning Greek life on or off. It was just simply a cornerstone of everything else on campus. With 4 years ahead of me, I had to figure out where my time would be best spent. Ultimately, I decided to stay active on campus, but felt the most direct value could be added through Pike leadership by investing time in others and building those bonds we often refer to as Pikes. In my chapter, this first meant alumni relations chairman, then recruitment, and eventually SMC. As I developed trust among the brothers, it was apparent others had struggled with many of the challenges I faced as a freshman. Prior to running for president, brother actually shared the suicide note he wrote the night before meeting one of the guys who invited him over for a rush event. It was a decision to join Pike that ultimately changed his course after being rejected from the School of Nursing. He leveraged the support system, improved his grades, joined the men's cheerleading team, was accepted into the nursing school the following year. He recently started full-time at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Another brother serving on the chapter's executive team arrived late to meeting one night. I noticed lacerations on his right arm and a lack of enthusiasm that would traditionally light up the room when he walked in. With a bit of consolation, he disclosed family issues between his sister and parents, leaving him with what seemed to be the only escape. His emotions resonated. Through a village of support, he overcame the struggles and then went on to be tapped into the university's highest honorary. He was then selected as one of 5 men on homecoming court, graduated summa cum laude, and recently was the campaign manager for one of the candidates in Cincinnati's mayoral race. These are just two of the many examples of guys relying on brotherhood to get them through trying times. It was never forced nor planned, and they'll be the first ones to tell you that it was simply shooting ball in the parking lot, randomly deciding to go to a Cincinnati Cyclones game on a Wednesday night for dollar beers, or making one of the diviest bars, Daniel's Pub, a regular stop for the guys, all simply to enjoy each other's company. While it's easier for me to champion such experiences as a direct beneficiary of the strong brotherhood, this is not at all a shared sentiment among the masses. Just recently, Greek male's life was taken at Penn State. This story flashed across every network and platform, viewed by Greeks and non-Greeks. Unfortunately, most college students have not participated in Greek life, and the threat on its existence continues to grow. Much of the negative press is warranted, while stories like mine and the brothers previously mentioned rarely make mainstream news. It is our obligation to champion the benefits of a proper Greek experience by living out the ideals of a true Pike, both in college and our adult life, to shield our chapters from such tragedies in the future. Pike gave me the support I needed during my earlier years, and I did what I could to settle a seemingly unpayable debt. Yet Alpha Xi continued giving more and more throughout that process. With opportunities to help brothers with their struggles, my passion for the fraternity grew deeper. Pike remains a highlight of my conversations with friends and family back home, and the meeting place when visiting Cincinnati. I encourage all of you to take a similar view of our great fraternity and mold these young men into better individuals, keeping these strong bonds at the forefront of all you do, and not succumbing to the nonsense that will result in our fraternity's extinction. There is no priority greater than investing everything into the family that shaped all of us and our closest friends. No matter the time or the commitment, I owe a great deal to this fraternity and will forever be indebted to Pi Kappa Alpha. Thank you.